Welcome back to College Football Addiction. Drake C. Toll, Locked On Big 12. We've got some bowl games and a big one on Saturday. Miami, Cam Ward and the boys will face off with Iowa State. Drake, how you doing, bud?
Great, TJ. It's the holiday season, and a whoop-de-doo and a dickory-dock. We get Iowa State and Miami this weekend in one of the biggest bowl games where the Big 12 can prove that out of conference, this league is legit.
Talk to me about Iowa State's roster. It seems like most of Miami's guys are suiting up for this. Very few opt-outs. Now, we'll see as the week goes on if anybody changes their mind. We're recording this very early in the week, but it sounds like Cam Ward's playing, and then basically everybody else has said, well, if he's playing, I'm playing, right? He's a top 5 pick. I can go out there and play too then. What's Iowa State's roster look like? Not only from the portal, but just any opt-outs, anybody not playing in this game?
Yeah, for Iowa State right now, it's Rocco back. He's kind of leading the same charge, but a much younger guy doing it, saying, guys, let's go play. And from Jayden Higgins to Jalen Knoll, I do believe you'll see Iowa State at full force. They didn't like the taste that the Big 12 championship left in their mouth. So what they're going to do is open this bowl game at, again, full strength. The goal is for Matt Campbell to get an extra win, the 11th win. It'll be the most in program history. They can build off their 10-win season, which they had never done before, rush the field when they hit that milestone against Kansas State. And now against Miami, you also have an opportunity to not just win 11 games, but help put your conference on your back. The entire Big 12 is rooting for Iowa State to win this game and rooting for the players to go play. I mean, you've got NFL caliber talent across the board, offense and defense for Iowa State, as does Miami. If both rosters are at full strength, I think this is a great matchup and great for college football to show that bowl games still mean something. While Iowa State fans are disappointed they lost the Big 12 championship game, there's still something to play for. I believe the players and Matt Campbell, who I got to talk with on location a couple of weeks ago prior to that Big 12 title, listening to him speak, he's in. He's bought in. The players, conversely, are doing the exact same for this bowl game. I believe that Iowa State and Miami will be a true representation of what both Iowa State and Miami can offer in 2024.
Do you think that we've seen teams lose games and it impact them later? Now, there's been a long layoff since the teams were, playing in the Big 12 championship. Do you view the Big 12 championship as Arizona? We haven't talked about it since then, but just Arizona State just being incredibly hot and kind of unstoppable. Was Iowa State? Is that kind of their propensity to maybe lose a game like that? Like, matchup with Miami certainly not easy. Or do you think they bounce back from it?
Yeah, Iowa State hit a lull there in that third part of the season. If you break it into fourths, that game's 6 through 8. They hit a lull, and I was worried about if they ever really catch back up. They did. Their final stretch there after the Kansas loss was really solid. That Kansas State win, namely at home. So I thought they had momentum. This wasn't a case of, a very hot Arizona State team beats a middling or a struggling Iowa State team. No, two schools that I felt like were at full force when at it in the Big 12 title. That just shows that if Arizona State had to go attack the Death Star, they were going to at least have a shot based on all of that momentum they collected in their win streak there late in the year. So I'm not worried about Iowa State because of that loss, given the fact that the buzzsaw of the Sun Devils ran through everybody over the course of the back half of this season. So I'm not worried about Iowa State. I'd be more worried about Miami, who thought it was a lock for the ACC championship game, who was ready to go compete for the college football playoff, who all they had to do was win one game, and they're probably in the field. And they said, you know what? Never mind. We're good. We'll send Clemson instead. That's a school. That's a team far more demoralized than Iowa State, who got to the Big 12 title and didn't know that they would be there until midnight the week before, the Saturday before. For Miami, they always expected they would be in their conference title game, and instead it was SMU and Clemson, and they had to sit at home. I think that's a team reeling from momentum much more than Iowa State.
Yeah, I wonder what their motivation is, right? Does Miami kind of say, we will prove, kind of the Florida State narrative from last year? Well, you could have proved everybody wrong that you should have been in or that you shouldn't have lost this game. And does Miami have that? Because if they have that, they're a tough team to beat, no doubt. But if any of it is not there, if any of the doubt creeps in, because their last half of the schedule was not great, or their last quarter, sorry. If any of that creeps in, are they in trouble? So I do wonder what Miami's motivation is in this. Past motivation, though, does enter Cam Ward. And so obviously could be the first quarterback taken in the draft. We'll see what happens there, where he ends up. But maybe the best quarterback in the country this year. I know people will say Gabriel Sanders, other things, but really, really good play. Is Iowa State's secondary equipped to somewhat slow that pretty high-powered offensive attack down?
Iowa State secondary is one of my favorite parts of the entire roster. Against the drop back this season, they are 10th in the country in efficiency ratings, this per College Football Insider. So if there's one area that I do like the Cyclones, it's their secondary. And this year, that is what was their bell cow of their ratings on offense and defense, both on against the offense and with their own offense. They were the best categories. What I'm trying to put together is their secondary, and so I'm not too worried about Cam Ward, and I'm not too worried about this. What you mentioned, TJ, will to play or why they want to be out there. Miami can go have fun. Iowa State is more so business in these scenarios, and here's why: the state of Iowa is not known for football success. Iowa State is not known for football success. First 10-win season ever was this year. Miami, the U, they've won national titles. Their expectation was a college football playoff. They fell short. If they win a bowl game, all right, great. We'll just kind of put that trophy in the back of the closet behind all of our national championship trophies. For Iowa State, they will always have something to play for in a bowl game. The more you win historically, the less a bowl game like this matters. And it might matter for a Cam Ward or that starting left guard who's a senior playing his last game. I guarantee you it does. But by and large, on the whole, there aren't a lot of Miami fans fired up for this. They don't care about playing Iowa State. Conversely, the Cyclones want to win. Their fan base wants to be there. This is all about glory, which is something that's lost for most college football teams, especially those teetering on the edge of blue blood, as Miami very well may be. For Iowa State, they've been overlooked for decades, rightfully so most of the time. Now that they're actually good, winning means even more in these scenarios.
Miami's defense certainly has some holes in it. Teams have put up, inordinate amount of points this year, whether it's Virginia Tech or Cal or Georgia Tech with backup quarterbacks, Syracuse. They have absolutely lit that defense up. And to me, that's the biggest question: is how well do they play, and can Iowa State's offense rebound from a tough performance in the Big 12 championship? What are your expectations for, you mentioned Rocco, and that offense against a Miami defense that certainly has struggled at times this year?
Yeah, Miami, honestly, they grade pretty well, which was surprising to me on both sides of the defense. That is against the rush and against the pass. 15th against the run, 19th against the drop back in the country efficiency-wise. And to me, it shows a Miami team that you really dig down in the analytics isn't as bad as many of us would like to say they are, though they're untimely. I don't want to say unlucky, just untimely. When it matters the most, Miami's like, you know what, guys, I'm sorry, I was kind of going to take a back seat and you can go ahead and have whatever touchdowns you want. And you see that in the way that they were falling apart in late games, and you'd see that opposing teams come back on them when it mattered the most because they just, I don't know if they gave up or what it was, that clutch gene wasn't there for the Canes when given an opportunity again to go to the college football playoff. For Iowa State, 21st in the country running the football, 29th throwing the football with two NFL talent level wide receivers and Rocco Beck being able to sling the football. They're going to be okay. Abu Sama, too, running the ball. I like Carson Hansen also in their dual threat backfield. I like their odds against this Miami defense, though I do want to give the Hurricanes some credit here. It's not a bad unit altogether.
Last one, and this one is probably the most fun question. Florida State fans have certainly given Miami some grief over the bowl that they're playing in, and Florida State doesn't have a lot of room to talk after going 10-2 or 2-10. However, we have kind of laughed at the fact that it is the Pop-Tart Bowl. I'm a s'mores guy. What's your favorite Pop-Tart, Drake?
Oh, the s'mores one's good. I used to, every day I'd drive. I wouldn't drive. I was like 9. We would drive to school. My dad would, and I would drink a Capri Sun and eat a Pop-Tart. And more days than not, it was the brown sugar cinnamon. So for nostalgia purposes, s'mores was up there. It was always in the car every now and then. I'm going to go brown sugar cinnamon, but you best not toast it. Don't you dare toast it. I'm eating that thing raw. That's how I want it.
My wife is a huge fan of the brown sugar cinnamon. We got one of each, one of brown sugar, one of s'mores this week. They were BOGO at Publix, and my kids ate all the s'mores. And my wife was sad that they liked mine better, but happy that she got to eat all the brown sugar. So
that's
Drake,
awesome.
Where can people follow you? Where can they find your work?
At LO Big 12 on Twitter or at Drake C. Toll on that same platform, and Locked On Big 12 wherever you find your podcasts.
Thanks, buddy.